Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing a walkthrough of all of the Airbnbs I stayed at in Europe. Don't make the mistake that I did. I booked my Airbnbs 2 to 3 months before the trip. Bad idea, because one, you are limited to whatever is left, and two, the prices are much higher because the earlier you book, the chances of getting a good price is much higher. Sometimes there's discounts on Airbnb if you book way in advance. It doesn't even have to be that long, like 4 to 5 months, so keep that in mind. Anyways, because of the pricing, I quickly decided on 5 non-negotiables that will determine which Airbnbs I will book. And these are the 5 non-negotiables I came up with. First non-negotiable is the location must be walkable or central to save on travel time and cost. I feel like that is so key, especially if you have a jam-packed itinerary. We didn't really. I think I spaced it out all right, but at the same time, we're only in each city about 2 to 3 days max. So I wanted to make sure we were central enough to walk everywhere and see everything that we wanted to. That saves on the time for travel, that saves on all the cost for taking the bus or taking a taxi. It just made more sense for me to spend more on the accommodation because time is money, money is money. It makes sense. Number 2, there must be at least 2 beds in 2 separate rooms. It doesn't have to be another bedroom. It could be a living room as well. I thought that that's very important because Alan and my mom aren't family, so it's kind of weird if they shared a room. Just for privacy and for personal time, it's nice to have that separation. So that was definitely a non-negotiable for me. Number 3, the home must be clean, especially the washroom. That's my biggest pet peeve. If I stay somewhere and the washroom is gross, I can't. Number 4, 90% of the reviews must be good and there should not be any 1, 2, or 3 star reviews. I honestly thought I could get away with just no 1 and 2 star reviews, but even when there's a 3-star review, I would be kind of iffy and I ended up not going with it. I just wanted to make sure that everything was working, especially since I'm with my mom. Number 5, there must be a washer and dryer in Athens and in Florence. We were traveling for almost 3 weeks, so we needed to make sure that there is a washer and dryer, especially since we had to fit everything in a carry-on. I was so strict with my mom and Alan. I was like, no checked luggages, everything must fit in your carry-on. Mainly because we were going to Venice and I knew there's a lot of stairs, so we had to wash our clothes whenever we could. Each and every single Airbnbs that we stayed at checks off all of these non-negotiables. Thankfully, we did pay a little bit of a premium, I think, for all of these, but I think it was completely worth it and it just made our travel so much smoother and easier. In many ways, it's pretty simple. They're pretty logical, right? Like, I'm not overboard. We're gonna go through all 5 of the Airbnbs now. Anyways, without further ado, let's get started. So our first stop in Europe was Santorini to attend my dear friends Lisa and Haj's wedding. My friends actually rented out a villa, actually 2, one for the guys and one for the girls. We didn't end up staying there because I did have my mom. That was more of like the party villas, the bride and groom's friends, all of that. So no parents allowed. The villas were actually a really good price. For the 2 or 3 nights that they stayed, I think each person paid roughly like $150 to $200, something like that. But there were a lot of them for both of them. And they got a deal because they're renting both of them together at the same time. Accommodation in Santorini ain't freaking cheap, man. I managed to find this Airbnb and hotel for a really good price close to the heart of downtown Fira. We stayed at this place called Olive Tree Suites. Honestly, I wasn't sure if I would like this Airbnb, but it actually surprised me. Our reservation was for 1 suite, but turns out it was 2 bedrooms that had a connecting door. To our surprise, there was 2 bathrooms. Holy crap, I didn't even think of that as a non-negotiable. Obviously it wasn't a non-negotiable, it's just such a great bonus because Alan can have his own washroom and my mom and I can have our own washroom. It was great. The space was clean and comfortable. The showers were cave shower style, which was interesting. I felt like the water kind of splashed a little bit, but it wasn't too bad. I thought it would be way worse. It was super hot outside, but the rooms were cool and there was even an AC unit if you needed it. The balcony was nice, but we never used it. There is also a rooftop area where you can hang out, but I found it a little bit dusty there, so we never went up. The location was perfect. It was a 4 to 5 minute walk from the bus stop to Ia, and maybe a 8 to 10 minute walk to the main area of Fira. All in all, like, this Airbnb was so perfect. It was so central. It was so easy to walk everywhere, to explore. It was only about 1 block away from the main street. This Airbnb slash hotel had everything that you may need. It even had like a mini kitchen with the usual, like a tiny stove, coffee, a mini fridge. The windows were kind of weird though, because it came down this way, but it also opens this way. So I thought I broke their freaking window on the door, but turns out it was fine and Alan fixed it, thankfully. Overall, I was pleasantly surprised and I'm pretty happy with our stay. I do recommend staying at this Airbnb. For one night, it was $257 Canadian. In USD, that would be $186 per night. It might have gone up though, I don't know. It's like different, right? Depending on the season and the time that you book. Maybe it'll be cheaper, maybe it'll be more expensive, who knows? But this is what I paid. And because this is the first one, it is rated number 1 on our list right now. Next up on our travel list is Athens. The building itself was quite old and sketchy. When we were going up, there was like no door. You see the wall and it's like moving up with it. Honestly, I was questioning it a little bit based on the outside and the elevator, but the moment we opened the door and walked into the unit, it was so modern. It was fully renovated for sure. Everything looked great. I was very, very happy. The rooms were really spacious and there was so much storage. They had the ginormous IKEA wardrobe that goes from the floor to the ceiling, but they have like freaking high ass ceilings. My favorite part about the home, besides the ceiling, is that they kept the flooring. It looked like older flooring or original flooring, or they tried to make it feel like that. The dining area felt like a 50s diner. You know, when you sit at a bar and you're just eating. It was really cute. And I love the color scheme. It felt like home away from home for sure. The space was just super comfortable, super clean. The washroom even had a towel warmer that Amy told me about. Unfortunately, I didn't get to try it because I didn't know how to turn it on, but I thought that was pretty cool that your towel will always be warm because of that. The rooms were very spacious and the bed was very, very comfortable. I was actually surprised at how much space each room had. The house had a laundry machine, which was a non-negotiable in Athens. This Airbnb was walking distance to the Acropolis and a short cab ride from some other touristy places that we went to. This place cost 246 Canadian dollars, which is 178 USD. And now it's ranking time. I am putting this in first place because I genuinely loved this Airbnb. It was so homey, it was such a vibe, and I would come back to it for sure, like without a doubt. Now we're moving on to our first Italian city, Venice. Our Airbnb at Venice was great. Let's talk about the location first. We were told to book by the water because if you're by the water, you can get everywhere pretty easily, especially coming in from the station and whatnot. You can take the water bus or water taxi in, and you wouldn't have to walk through all the stairs to get to your Airbnb. The issue is, I booked on the wrong side of the water. My friend told me to book in San Marco, which is ideally the best place, but I booked in San Polo because that was the best deal with the best reviews and it was close to the water, so I thought it would be okay. Our Airbnb specifically is actually in San Toma. The water taxi would have brought us right up to our Airbnb, but we ended up taking the water bus, so we had to get dropped off and walk through all of the streets for about 15 to 20-ish minutes, carrying all of our luggage. I was so freaking sweaty at the end of it, but that was such a minor inconvenience. This Airbnb was so nice. It felt so homey and so comfortable. It had high ceilings, which made the home feel so open and spacious. The space felt very, very clean. The cleanest of all of the Airbnbs actually. They had 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, and a washer and dryer. To our surprise, they had a European bidet here. I didn't even know that was a thing. I love how homey this Airbnb felt. I would definitely recommend this Airbnb. I love it so much. So that's why I'm ranking this one number 1. We have a new first place. This one was just so nice, and the host was amazing. It was great. It was a great stay, and I highly recommend. The price is quite high, but I think it's just because we're in Italy now and Greece was a lot cheaper. Per night, it would cost 351 Canadian dollars, which is 254 USD. Venice, people are telling me, is one of the more expensive places, so I was expecting that, especially with how last minute I was. I still beat myself up for that, so hopefully after this video is up I don't have to think about it anymore. Girl, just book your accommodation ASAP. Most of these places allow you to cancel 4 or 5 days before, so if you find a better priced one later on, you can book it, but just book your damn accommodation right away. So for our second stop in Italy, we went to Florence. I almost didn't go to Florence, but my friend Hannah was like, it was my favorite place, you have to go. There's these activities that you should do. The food was amazing, and I was like, say less, I'm gonna go. And boy, I'm so glad I did. I freaking love Florence. I want to go back. I want to eat more food. I want to explore Tuscany. Like, there's so much to do there, and I think I love Florence the most. But enough about Florence, let's talk about the Airbnb. This Airbnb was so different. I didn't know what to expect for the layout. I think I'm just so used to the North American layout that these European layouts trip me out. This is a Tuscan style home. When you walk into this home, it's not like a house, it's obviously like an apartment. On the left hand side is the 2 bedrooms, but one of the bedroom looks like a living room. So at the very end, it's a living room. The next to it is a bedroom, and then there's a hall. To your right, it's a kitchen, or the dining area and the kitchen, and there's another room which could be an office, but they made it into a laundry room. And at the very end, in another room, is the bathroom. So like, it's a straight line with all these different rooms. It was very weird. It was very different. It was very cool. I was like confused because I didn't expect it to feel like that. It was like a cool confusion of like, wow, this is what a Tuscan style home feels like. You can feel that the things in there are like, there's a lot of character in this space. The ceilings were high. What's with Europe with all these high ceilings? I'm all for it. It was so cool. And in Alan's room, it was actually a living room that turned into a bedroom for Alan. It was huge. Like, I think it's the size of my apartment right now. A little less, minus the washroom. There was a fireplace that was super unique. I freaking thought that fireplace was pretty cool. Our bedroom had a lot of storage. There's so much storage in these Airbnbs. Kitchen was a little cramped, but it wasn't too bad. It was like the old school, I guess 70s, 80s kitchen, maybe? Is that right? Of course, washer and dryer. We got to do our laundry. It was great. The only bad thing about this Airbnb was how thin the walls were, because, well, I am a pretty deep sleeper, but my mom said that she heard Alan snoring from our room, and his room was next door, so she heard everything the whole night. So I thought that was funny, but because my mom snores, so they both were having like this snoring battle, and I was just sleeping. But yeah, the walls were a little thin, so there's also that. I actually really liked the location of this place. It was very walkable. We of course walked everywhere after we were dropped off with our luggages. Although it's not completely central, everything was, I think, about a 15-minute walk. It took us 15 minutes to walk to Galleria dell'Accademia, which is where the David sculpture is, and the Duomo was just about 15 minutes as well. The only downside is it was so hard to book a cab. I don't think it's the Airbnb's fault. It's more like Florence. They have designated cab areas apparently, and our host was unable to book us a cab. So we ended up taking the bus and got lost. The host was very lovely. All the hosts have been quite lovely and helpful, so I appreciate that. I really liked the Tuscan style home. It was super cool to stay in and experience. This is actually a really tough decision because I feel like based on how cool the Tuscan home was, for me at least, I want to put it first. But that Venice home kind of hits different. It would definitely, it's gonna go second. So the Tuscan home is second place. Venice is still a solid number one. The cost per night for this home was $347 Canadian, which is $251 USD. So for our final stop in Europe and our final stop in Italy, we of course visited Rome. This Airbnb was very, very central. I am so happy with its location. We were advised to book close to the Trevi Fountain, which I did. It was about a 5-minute walk away, and I couldn't be happier to have booked that location. We definitely paid a premium for this place. It was $442 Canadian, which is $320 USD. So this Airbnb was my least favorite and the most expensive Airbnb out of all of them, but that was kind of expected because of its location and it's in Rome. Like, Rome is expensive and everyone knows this. The space was pretty small, but all we needed was a place to come home and sleep and shower and leave, so it was perfect. The bed that Alan was on was a little creaky, and yeah, like if you sit in the wrong spot, like the whole thing lifts up, because I did that, but it's okay. It's not a big deal. It's still pretty cool how there were high ceilings. I think it's a European thing, right? Like, why is there always high ceilings in all of these homes? The kitchen had almost everything that you need. We actually did cook a home cooked meal at this Airbnb. The only thing to consider is that it gets really loud at night because there is like a little bar or restaurant where people are drinking, and I think it went on until about 1 a.m. But after that, you could sleep, you wouldn't hear anything. But if you're a light sleeper, that would bother you for sure. Honestly, I'm a little bit torn. I don't think I would go back to this Airbnb because I am a lot more experienced now, so I would have more choices. We were kind of stuck with this Airbnb. It was the only one I could find at Trevi Fountain for a decent price. Can you believe me? A decent price? That is expensive. My favorite part of Rome is the Trevi Fountain. I don't know if it's because it was the first thing we saw. It was just so grand. It was so beautiful. Like, I freaking love it. I will go back to Rome just to see it. It's gorgeous. As you may have figured it out already, this is ranking 5th. It was a good place to stay if you're just heading in, sleeping, showering, and leaving, and you don't care too much about anything else. It was decently clean. The host was great. So that is the complete ranking of all the Airbnbs that I stayed at, and let me know which one's your favorite one. I am definitely in between the Venice and the Florence one, but ultimately I loved the Venice one. I don't know why. Like, it was just so nice. It felt more like home than any other one, so I definitely felt more connected to that, I guess. Is that the right thing to say? I just liked it a lot more. Thanks for tuning in to this European Airbnb tour. I hope you guys liked the video. Please subscribe if you haven't, because that just gives me a boost in my confidence. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!